Hello again. I just realized I was watching what I was filming and I just realized how much in the shadows I was, so I changed position here and I'm going to continue reading. This is part 4 from my book. And this is from Uncle Tom's Classroom, How One Public School Teacher Awakened His Students to the Cosmic Super Self Within. I am Thomas Allen Berg and I'm broadcasting from Hawaii on Christmas Day. I also am part of Out and About with Brewer and Berg, a multi-dimensional travelogue, which you can see on www.brewberg.com. Anyway, I'm going to continue reading from my book this morning, as just hopefully that somebody out there will help me get the word out, because I named it Uncle Tom's Classroom because I realized after teaching many, many, many years that students were being treated as Uncle Toms. In fact, students were being taught to give up their freedom of thinking, freedom of self-exploration, free discourse, all levels of freedom they were being asked to give up and acquiesce to the agendas of the systems. The school system, the capitalistic system, the religious systems, the medias, peer pressure, all of the systems that have agendas that are not necessarily in alignment with what children really, really want for themselves and the reason why they're born. I mean, really, when you ask a child to begin to explore, why are you on Earth? It is amazing what they come up with. They are conduits for individual cosmic supreme consciousness, and when given some freedom, they get in touch with that. Anyway, I'm going to continue reading this. This is part 4. I call my new holistic approach the cosmic curriculum, and I know that it can free children to remember, reconnect with, and become who they really are. I know because I actually saw it in my classroom. The cosmic curriculum of the super self is able to release the inner genius within children because it helps them log on to their real identity and the cosmic superpowers that flow from the connection with that source identity. I've used this approach in my own cosmic classroom by the sea. I call that lovingly my classroom by the sea because for many years I was allowed to teach at A.P. Giannini Middle School in San Francisco. I taught every grade in the school system from kindergarten through 8th grade. And I ended up manifesting for myself a beautiful classroom that overlooked the Pacific Ocean. So I called it my classroom by the sea. Anyway, the results that we achieved working together, creating this new cosmic curriculum and this new language of the cosmic super self, were extraordinary, to say the least. I will extrapolate on the radical educational adventure in more detail in later chapters of this book. This, of course, is available online at Amazon.com, Barnes & Nobles, and Borders online. It is my desire to prove in this book, beyond a shadow of a doubt, why we owe it to our children to end their enslavement to all imprisoning beliefs that would seek to chain them to the unworkable worldviews and limited paradigms of the past. This awakening process will take courage and some very deep and honest soul searching. In order to wake up and liberate our young, we of the older, controlling generations will have to be willing to pull our ostrich heads out of the sands of old 19th and 20th century thinking long enough to take a good hard look at what we are really doing to our children in the name of public education. At some point over the last 100 years or so, education as it was meant to be in its truest classical sense has been replaced by institutionalized brainwashing. You have to call it what it is, and that's what it is. It's indoctrination, cultural conditioning, and unrelenting mental programming. And aside here, I think that's why children and teenagers especially have been so attracted to movies like The Matrix, because they sense in watching that there is an underlying truth. Back to the book, page 28. Let me reiterate here that I am not suggesting that there is anything intrinsically wrong with the institutions themselves in their purest form. We live in a world of forms. Most systemic structures and forms are neutral. Forms are basically neutral. Institutions are organized systems which can be used for good, creation, or not, destruction. What the huge monolithic systems and institutions accomplish in the world today is always up basically to the people who run them and who participate in them. And then I quote from Daniel Pinchbeck. Modern civilization has emerged like an impersonal brute force, an unethical, unspiritual mind driven by a violent drive for power over. It has been characterized by overdevelopment, intensification of ethnic and religious hatreds, destruction of the environment, and unending growth of the military-industrial complex. The systems act like parasites, sucking out the individual's life energy, offering us gadgets and high-tech toys instead of the truth of divine consciousness. What I am suggesting is that many of our great institutions, like capitalism, government, public education, and even organized religion, have been taken over by people who have hidden agendas that often seek control and domination. They are using the institutions to foster a greedy religion of fear, a dictatorial domination, unending labor, passive compliance, social stratification, and unbridled competition. And then I quote Abraham Lincoln. Those who deny freedom to others do not deserve it for themselves, and under a just God cannot retain it for long. It is the destiny of the United States of America to demonstrate this truth to the world. In giving freedom to those who are enslaved, we assure freedom to the free. An aside here, that's why I wrote this book. I desperately want to get the message out as a teacher of 35 years. I also taught in the Peace Corps and the Teacher Corps. In all of the venues, in all of the places where I taught, I discovered the same systemic attempt to control the thinking and the emotions of our children, to program them into a certain materialistic way of looking at life. If there's anything we can give our children for Christmas, for the new year, for the coming this new millennium that hasn't really gotten off the ground yet, if there's anything we can give, it's liberation from our old, ignorant, 20th century, materialistic, capitalistic, overly competitive thought systems that basically killed, if you look at history, 100 million people in the 20th century. So it wasn't exactly all that successful. I continue. I became a teacher because I love learning about and sharing the wonder, glory, and power of great ideas. An aside, the American dream is a great idea. It's an idea that has yet to come to fruition. To continue. I love watching how beautiful ideas, values, and ideals have the power to grow into three-dimensional reality, and I admire the way the original, mythical, American dream was based on great ideals like life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for all. This amazing promise of freedom filled me with pride when I first studied about it back in the 1950s. I grew up feeling profoundly grateful to have been born as a lucky beneficiary of what I considered to be the reality of the American dream. Learning how the Bill of Rights and the Constitution guaranteed me a lifetime of freedom to enjoy life, liberty, and pursue happiness convinced me that I truly was blessed to live at the perfect time and in the perfect country. And now I quote Thomas Wolfe, America, it's a fabulous country, a place where miracles not only happen, but where they happen all the time. An aside here, I really applaud Naomi Wolf and people who are out there writing about the threat to our rights, to the Bill of Rights and our freedoms as written in the Constitution, because we really do need to stand up now for